Hi everyone, it's Marianne, and I'm here today with a QT for you on July's All About. So by now you know that July is all about flowers, not just flowers, but making and using flowers in creative ways. We want you to think this month about ways that you have not used flowers before, or ways that you have not made flowers before, or have you made flowers before? Maybe you haven't ever tried. So we're showing you in tutorials different ways to make flowers, different ways to use them. But today, I just want to share with you a quick tip on how you can make patterns for flowers that you can keep and use over and over and over again. Maybe you buy a pack of flowers, like one of these, and you decide, I really like that size of flower, but I wish it was different colors. I really like the shape of that flower, but boy, as soon as I use them up, they'll be gone. And this one, wow, that's unique. It's curled. I could do that with, the right kind of paper, with a thin paper. I could curl it just like we did on our very first All About in July. We curled up the ends. This one, you curl it from side to side. So once you use them, they're gone and you have to buy another pack. If you have a flower, find a flower, make a flower that you really like and you want to make a template, you can do that. So we're going to make a template, which is a pattern, which is just something that you can use over and over again. So I grabbed a few things. This is similar to this flower here. We could even pull this one out, doesn't matter, but this is a QT, so it's only got to be a couple of minutes. So I'm going to pull one of these out. Okay, and often you buy packs of this same type of material, but it's got just a bunch of these flat pieces, and then you take the different shapes, the different sizes, and you layer them up. You might just layer them up until you get the flower that you want, and they'd have patterns and solids and things like that. You could take one of every size and one of every shape out and make yourself a template out of it. And this is a pretty cool one, so we'll make a template out of that. And then this, look at that. Put that on a ponytail. But that's a cool flower. I really like that flower. And even though this is netting, maybe you're thinking, I can't reproduce that in the netting. It's still a cool shaped flower and you could reproduce it with a lot of things. So, and here's a leather one. Here's a leather flower. And look at that, it's all one piece. And then the second layer is all one piece. And it's sewn on. Sewn together with the beads in the center. So I'm going to show you how to make a quick template there. So all we need is some chipboard. Now this just happens to be the back of a little notebook that notepad I just happened to finish using a few minutes ago. This one is a little bit thicker chipboard. If the pattern or the flower is really fine, really skinny in certain parts, or really small, I might use a little thicker chipboard just to give it more stability. But if not, then I probably wouldn't go with this little thicker. That's pretty thick. You can hear the difference in that and this. This is much thinner. This is more like a cereal box. Cereal box is perfect. To use a cereal box as your template material is perfect. And here's what you do. All you need is a pencil. I like retractable ones because you can keep it sharp all the time and you don't have to push very hard. So I'm going to take the flower, and depending on the flower, when they're only one layer, this is super easy. But sometimes you have to push it to make it lay down flat so you can get an actual shape. And sometimes you can't even get to every part and piece. You have to, when you get done, kind of fill that in yourself. But you can do that. You can absolutely do that. So all we're going to do is trace around the flower. See, I'm going to have a hard time making it lay flat because it's not a flat flower. And it's got this big bulky thing in the middle. I want to make sure I get enough out there because it's curled up. I don't want to undercut it and be making it way smaller than it would need to be. Okay, so basically I'm just kind of tracing around those petals. And that's kind of what we have. Did I actually cut that off? Nope, it went right to the edge, which means this one that I didn't do should come right up to it, right to a point. Now, actually, they all come in a little bit farther. They all come dead to the center, but I couldn't get that far in with them, so it really comes like this. all I'm going to do is bring those in to meet. And then I'm going to take my scissors and just fussy cut this out. A little harder to do than on paper because it is chipboard, but honestly, cereal box or cracker box or something like that is not bad at all. As I said, they were kind of laying funny. I'm going to kind of straighten this one out because it was kind of laying funny. I'll bring that one over here a little bit and I'll cut in there, make it a little bit straighter. But the beauty of flowers is that they're never perfect. They're never perfectly symmetrical, and no two petals are ever alike. So it doesn't really matter exactly how you cut that out. It'll always look a beautiful flower. So then you take your scissors and you fussy cut that out. So something like this is flat, easy to trace. I would do this. Okay, you can see that these are right together. So I would trace all the way around these, all the way around, and then I would mark the point in here that it comes to. And then when you come, did it even go? Yeah, it did right there. When you come back, you can just draw a line right there, between every one of them. And so all you have to do is fussy cut all the way around the top, and then you come back with your scissors and just cut a slit, cut a slit, cut a slit. But I wouldn't even do that on my pattern. I would leave the pattern together, so it's just like this. And then when I put it on whatever paper I'm going to cut it out of, I would trace around it, I would fussy cut it out, and then I would go back with my scissors on the paper that I'm cutting it out of for real to be my flower, and I would cut that slit down in towards the center on each one of them. So you can see how easy this is to lay these down. Now something like this, I need to pick up the top flower so I can actually see, and I might have to do it 2 petals at a time, but this is easy because it's so thick and it's leather, so it stays in place easily, very strong. So even if I slip a little on my pencil, it's okay. I can always go fix it. It's only pencil. I haven't cut anything out yet. Okay, gonna do that all the way around. And it doesn't take long to do these. You can see that you pull out a flower and you're like, I really like that flower. Quick, trace it onto some chipboard and then set it aside. You can do that later. You just want to trace it before you use this flower. Now what I want to know, excuse me, I want to know if my top layer is the same size as my bottom layer or if it's smaller. If it's smaller, then I really do need to trace the top layer separately. So I'm going to measure the bottom layer from side to side is about 1.25 inches. The top layer from side to side of the petal is slightly less than 1.25 inches. Slightly, not much. So that tells me then that I could cut out 2 of these, and then I could take one and cut it just a tiny bit inside, so it's just slightly smaller than the other one, and it would be perfect. And there's my template. And I might say, okay, I want to make this a little more even, so I'll bring this in here. I'd like that to be a little more rounded. I might have cut that off when it shouldn't have been. You know, you can clean that up all you want. Yeah, I slipped out here, so I'm going to round it off in there. Did the same there. My pencil slipped, so I'm going to round it off here. This is where I'm going to cut. Okay, and then just get your scissors and have at it and start cutting yourself out a flower template. Now, always better to cut it too big than too small, because you can always, now notice I left that little center thing there because I don't want to tear it trying to get in there, and it's much easier to go back for those corners. I cut all the way down here. It's much easier to come back here afterwards and just take off that corner and have it without getting torn or bent all over the place trying to get in there. Better to make it bigger and cut it outside of your lines, which I am not doing, than to make it too small and cut it inside, especially on a smaller flower. You go inside the lines and now it's really small. If you want to clean anything up or shape it a little bit, you don't have very far to go. You're already inside, deep inside, without much room. So if I cut it outside of my pencil drawings and then I set it down, I can look at it and I can say, okay, I want to make this, round this one off a little bit. I want to cut that one in a little bit more. And you can actually shape them how you want them and have a perfect flower template that you're going to use for a long time, because these chipboard templates will last for a long time. Doesn't even matter if you get pencil on them or pen or marker on them every time you work with them, every time you trace them. But you can make some great flowers just by making your own templates and save yourself a ton of money and from buying flowers, and you can cut them out of burlap, out of fabric, out of tulle, out of paper, book pages, music pages, you know, deli paper, vellum, anything that you can find that you would like to have a flower out of, you can make a flower out of it. So thanks for joining me today. I invite you to join us on Facebook in the Happy Paper People group. I'll be back soon with another tutorial. Until then, be curious and try something new.